Welcome to another episode of the Dana Yee Show, and in this episode I'm going to cover various stock trading platforms otherwise known as brokerages. What are the different options out there, what are their differences, what are their pros and cons, and which one should you use? A kind of analogy that I came up with for picking a brokerage is kind of like choosing your first programming language, where ultimately I don't think it matters what language you choose at the very beginning, just that you choose a language and start learning. And similarly with brokerages, I think that there are so many good ones out there, it ultimately doesn't matter which one you start with, just that you get started on the investing and saving path. I do generally have a lot to say, and I'll be covering quite a few brokerages, so feel free to jump around with the little time bars down below, or even skip to the conclusion if you want to. So a few things before we get started. I'm not going to cover every brokerage out there because this video would literally be days long. I'm going to try to cover as many of the popular ones that I could think of. Additionally, I haven't personally used all these platforms, so I will let you know which ones I have personally and have not used. Lastly, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, second, before we get started, little blurb. I'm going to be going over a few, criteria for each of the brokerages, and these will be the UI/usability, the reliability and features, the depth of information available to the customer, so some platforms have a lot more information than others do, the customer service, so whether that be like emails, phone lines, whatever, the commissions and fees and account minimums, the strategies and purchases available, so can you buy stocks, can you buy crypto, can you buy options, etc., and lastly, any sign-up promotions. Okay, the first platform, RobinHood. Most people have heard of this, and this is the logo. It doesn't actually have the words on it, so I will go RobinHood. Yeah, let's add that to the logo so you can tell what platform this is. I personally do not use this application, but I know a lot of people who do and have seen a lot of other people use it. So here I pulled a couple screenshots of, again, not my accounts, and I will say I think RobinHood, despite a lot of its shortcomings, has a really nice UI. So the application looks really nice. For example, the one on the left here, you can see all your shares that you have. So for example, this person has Disney, Nvidia, and it shows you the number of shares, the day chart, and I think this is the current price of the stock. It might also be your gain, I'm not actually sure, and your total account value at the top. And if you click into a specific position, so for example, this one is AMD, and this person seems to have more than 47,000 shares of AMD. It shows you what percentage of your portfolio it is, how much money you have in it, your average cost, and the amount that it changed today, and the amount that it changed total since you bought it. Lastly, this on the right here is a sort of home screen, I guess. When you click into Robinhood, it gives you your total account balance, your amount for the past year, so RIP, they're down about 11%, and underneath that, this is a one-year chart, so you can select between like different time periods, and this poor person seems to have done something here incorrectly, and you can just see the account value drop. Overall, I really like the way Robinhood looks, and from what I hear, it's a very simple app to use, so it's really good for beginners. In terms of reliability, you may have heard a lot of iffy stories about the reliability of Robinhood. For example, this tweet is from March 9th, 2020, during the big crash last year. Robinhood was down for quite a few days, and I think a lot of people had issues because they couldn't buy and sell when the market was moving like 5-10% in a single day, which is really frustrating to customers. Additionally, another thing to note is that the market standard is open from 9:30 to 4 p.m. in Eastern time, and Robinhood allows you to trade from 9 to 6, so there's pre-market trading for half an hour, and you can trade for 2 hours after the market close. In terms of their customer service, again, I haven't personally dealt with their customer service, but I have heard pretty bad things about their customer service. They are a generally smaller company, so I can understand why it might take them like a long time to get through emails and stuff, but if we look at some articles here, some people are saying like they can't leave the app. Normally you can transfer brokerages. If you wanted to, I don't know, move from RobinHood to WeBull or Schwab or some other platform, some people were like unable to take their money out. And there was this other extreme case, I think this article was from Bloomberg, where money was wired out of their Robinhood account into not their bank account, so like looted, I guess, and there's no number, at least at the time, for them to call. There's just an email, and I've heard that it can take quite a few days for them to get back to you. In terms of commissions and fees, Robinhood actually doesn't have any, and they were the first brokerage to do so. I like that they did so because it led to other brokerages lowering their rates. For example, years ago, it would take like $9.99 or even more to buy and sell stocks once, but on Robinhood it is commission free, so buying and selling stocks, no commissions, buying and selling options, no commissions. So that's a good thing for Robinhood. And I believe they also don't have any account minimums, so if you really wanted to, you could get started with $5. In terms of what you can actually trade on Robinhood, you can trade stocks, ETFs, options, and ADRs, which I think are like a US way to buy foreign companies, I'm not too sure. And also on Robinhood, they support cryptocurrency, although you're not actually buying the cryptocurrency like in than like a crypto wallet. You're more so just speculating on the price. Lastly, to note, on Robinhood, you cannot trade futures or Forex. Some bigger things, I guess, that you can't do on Robinhood that you can on a lot of other platforms. You can't buy mutual funds, bonds, or fixed income trading, or any stocks that trade on foreign exchanges. And another thing I think that's pretty important for Robinhood is that they currently don't have any IRAs. So no Roth IRAs, no SEP IRAs, no traditional IRAs. So Robinhood currently only has brokerage accounts. In terms of sign-up promotions, I think Robinhood and WeBull are the ones that have like the most notable types of sign-up promotions. So for example, I think currently you get like 1 free share just for opening an account. And if you use like other people's referral links, you get 2 shares and they get 2 shares if you deposit $100. So it gives you incentive to sign up. It is a small amount, but it's like a little, here you go if you just sign up. So next is WeBull. I think a lot of people group WeBull and Robinhood together, but I think WeBull is vastly different than Robinhood, and we'll go over why. In terms of the UI, so this is actually the WeBull app because I use WeBull for charts and data. I really like the UI of the application. So for example, this is Tesla, my favorite example. You can see the chart, the 1-minute chart. You can add different indicators. You can see time and sales. I don't actually have any money in this account. I just use WeBull for data, but you can place trades, and overall the UI looks really nice. And that is one thing to note. Robinhood and WeBull are relatively newer brokerages, and because of that, their mobile applications look much more UI and design focused. A lot of older brokerages, which I'll show screenshots of in a bit, were created as websites first, and then it seems like the mobile application was kind of just slapped together, so it doesn't look great. But Robinhood and WeBull have some of the best interfaces. I really enjoy it, at least. In terms of customer service, I believe they have an email and phone number, which I don't have in this screenshot for some reason, and they're open 24/7. In terms of how long it would take you to get an email response or get someone on the phone, I'm not too sure. Another thing is that WeBull has full extended hours trading. So again, as I mentioned previously, the market standard is open from 9:30 to 4 p.m., but pre-market goes from 4 to 9:30 a.m. and after hours goes from 4 to 8 p.m. And WeBull is one of the few, if not the only platform that I know of that supports full pre-market trading. So on WeBull, you can trade from 4 a.m., interesting squiggles there, but you can trade from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. In terms of commissions for WeBull, it's pretty similar to Robinhood, so $0 for stocks, options, and ETFs, $0 per contract for options, and there's no account management fee, and I believe there's no minimum. My account, for example, has $0 and I can still keep it open. And similar to Robinhood, you can trade crypto. You can't actually buy crypto, which is different than a crypto wallet, so again, just speculating on the price of crypto, and you cannot trade futures or Forex on WeBull. In terms of promotion, again, like Robinhood, WeBull is kind of similar. If you sign up and put in $100 or more, so hopefully that isn't too difficult, you can get up to 2 free stocks, not up to 2 free stocks, you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,850. When I opened my account and then referred somebody else, I think I got 4 stocks, and total they were worth like $30, which isn't much, but I only put about $100 in, so that's like a 30% return. Again, it's very unlikely that you'll actually get a share of Google, Facebook, or Starbucks, but people have gotten it, and it's just a way for you to get on the platform. In terms of the next brokerage I'm going to cover, I do air quotes because there are 2, TD Ameritrade and Schwab, TD on the left and Schwab on the right. I think they're very similar, so I'm lumping them sort of in a group, also to make sure that this video isn't like an hour long. And another thing to note, I have used TD and I currently use Schwab. In terms of UI, these are screenshots of not my accounts. I wish these were my accounts. I'm working towards it, but on the left is TD, very, green centric because TD's like logo is green and I guess their whole color scheme is green, but you can see like your account value, any bonds you may have, cash, etc., and there are different tabs. You can do like research, you can trade, and for Schwab, their color scheme is more blue, and this actually looks very familiar to me. Again, not the numbers themselves, but the app, because I do use it on my phone sometimes. You can see individual accounts, your overall account like total, so when it goes up, when it goes down, your daily changes, and the changes in like each individual account. In terms of UI, I think these look okay. They definitely don't look as nice as WeBull or Robinhood, and I'm a little bit biased, but I think Schwab's interface looks a little bit nicer. In terms of like extra features, on TD, you can do pre-market trading from 7 a.m. to 9:28. I guess they need 2 minutes to like deal with everything, and you can trade after hours from 4:02 to 8 p.m. So for TD, you are missing the 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. trading window that you can get on WeBull. And kind of similarly for Schwab, you can trade in pre-market from 7 to 9:25 a.m. I guess they need 5 minutes to deal with stuff, and after hours between 4:05 and 8 p.m. Just like TD, Schwab is missing the 4 to 7 a.m. trading period, although I'm usually not up then, so I don't really need that feature. In terms of customer service, I think this is where TD and Schwab stand out. Now, I personally haven't dealt with TD Ameritrade customer service, but there are a lot of phone numbers that you can call for like specific purposes. If you want to open a new account, if you have an existing account, if you want to talk to someone in Spanish, or if you have like hearing impairments, there are different phone numbers you can call. And similarly for Schwab, there are a bunch of phone numbers you can call: general brokerage services, checking accounts, intelligent portfolios, trading services. And like I said before, I haven't actually dealt with TD customer service, but I have called Schwab customer service many times, especially at the beginning when I was new. For example, at the very beginning, I broke the PDT rule, but I didn't know what it was, and like this restriction came up on my account, so I called and was like, what is this? And they explained it to me, they lifted the restriction, and they were super patient, and they were super nice, and I got a hold of someone within like 5 or 10 minutes. In terms of commissions, these do have some commissions, so they're not like RobinHood or WeBull, but for the most part, it's commission free. For example, if you want to trade stocks and ETFs, it's $0. If you want to call a broker to buy and sell stocks for you, then it's $25. But in that case, I would just rather click the buttons and save $25 and save some time. And the top here is for TD. In terms of mutual funds, some of them there is no commission, but some of them it's $50. And for options, again, I'm going to ignore these bottom two brackets because I'm just going to assume you're doing it through the web. There is no commission on options, but each contract is 65 cents. It's quite similar for Schwab, so this little section at the bottom is for Schwab. For any online trades for stocks and ETF, $0, and options, it's 65 cents per contract to open and close. And certain types of mutual funds are around $50. And then it's more if you do broker assisted trades, but I'd rather just click the buttons myself and save some money. In terms of minimums, this top section is for TD. There is no minimum to open a new account, but if you do want to use margin, similar to a lot of other platforms, you have to have at least $2,000 if you want a margin account. This section on the bottom is for Schwab, nice, a bunch of zeros, no opening and maintenance fees, and there are no account minimums, so that's really nice. In terms of what you can actually buy and trade on these platforms, on TD you can trade stocks, options, mutual funds, ETFs, futures, forex, bonds, and CDs in a standard account. So a few of these that you didn't see in WeBull and RobinHood are like mutual funds, futures, forex, bonds, and CDs, but on TD you cannot trade crypto. And similarly on Schwab you can trade stocks, options, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and other financial products, and other financial products includes forex and futures, and again there is no crypto on these platforms. In terms of sign-up bonuses, these aren't as, I suppose, enticing as RobinHood and WeBull. Those are more geared towards newer investors just to get them to sign up for an account, but all of the sign-up bonuses, I guess, that I found for TD and Schwab require quite a bit of upfront capital. For example, on the top here for TD, if you deposit between $50,000 and $100,000, you get $150, and on Schwab, if you deposit between $25,000 and $50,000, you get $100. They actually changed this. This used to be $200, so sad. So if you're just looking to get into investing, these won't be that enticing as you most likely don't have this much cash lying around. However, if you have $500,000 and open a TD account, you can get $1,000 for signing up. Okay, the next platform, M1 Finance. This is one that I actually haven't used, but is very interesting, and I've seen and heard a lot of really good things about it. M1 is quite different from all the other trading platforms. For example, you can only buy and sell stocks twice per day, once at 9:30, and if you have like M1 Plus, which I think is like a paid subscription type thing, at 3 p.m. So M1 is not meant for trading, very quickly buying and selling. M1 is meant for much longer term investing, buying and holding, occasionally switching up your investments and things like that. And the way M1 works, I'll try and explain it with this picture here. Again, not my portfolio, but you have what's called a little pie. So that's what this is over here. And you can determine how you want to split up your pie. So for example, in this pie, let's arbitrarily give company names. M1 is automatically going to buy companies to try and balance your portfolio to this pie. I guess an example would be if everything else went up in price except, I don't know, Apple. So Apple now was 1/16 of your portfolio instead of 1/8. M1 would go in and buy Apple to try and make each company take up 1/8 of your portfolio. And you can see this in this specific portfolio. This person has like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Lockheed, etc. And you can see this actual versus target. So this target percentage is what you set. So this person says, I want 13% of my portfolio to be Nvidia, 13% to be Apple, and then this is the actual percentage. So Nvidia is a little bit overweight, so M1 is not going to buy Nvidia. It's probably going to buy some of this or anything that's like underbalanced in your portfolio, if that makes sense. And this is really cool because it's pretty passive. You don't have to say, oh, my Apple is down, so let's go buy some Apple. You just put in like $100 and M1 will go and buy some Apple for you. And as I mentioned earlier, there are like 2 trading windows, one around open and one around close if you have M1 Plus. And like a lot of other platforms, you can see your portfolio value over time. So this one has been going, well, obviously pretty steadily up, almost exponential at the end here. In terms of a minimum investment, like most accounts, $0, so you don't have to open any, and there are no like account maintenance fees. Another thing is that the types of accounts you can open up taxable accounts, you can open up different types of IRAs, which Robinhood doesn't have. And I actually think if I were to go back in time, I didn't know about M1 when I started, but if I did know about it, I would have used M1 for my Roth IRA because that's more passive. In terms of sign-up promotions, if you use someone else's sign-up link, and I think if you like deposit $100, then you get $30 and the person who referred you gets $30. So $30 on a $100 investment is a pretty quick 30%. The next 2 that I'm going to sort of lump together are Fidelity and Vanguard because they're older, more well-known, and they have a lot of mutual funds that people know and love. Unfortunately, in terms of UI, I think these 2 are among the worst in this list. For example, Fidelity on the left here, these are not my accounts, but I have used accounts on Fidelity and Vanguard before, and they are really terrible. It's really hard to figure out where you need to navigate to do anything. Like this website just looks like too much. And in terms of Vanguard, fun fact, my Roth IRA I actually opened at Vanguard and then transferred it to Schwab. I guess this looks slightly better than the Fidelity kind of mess here on the left, but it is still kind of confusing and it definitely doesn't look as nice as the Robinhood or WeBull platforms from earlier, and I even think TD and Schwab looks better than this. I'm not going to go into these or a couple more really in-depth because this video is already taking a long time, as I always like to talk too much, but Fidelity and Vanguard are meant for much longer term investors, and if you're not really active at all, like maybe just buying a few index funds, stocks, or ETFs and just sitting and occasionally putting money in. And that kind of is the reason that I actually switched from Vanguard. I think Vanguard's prices update once every 15 minutes, and if I'm trading very actively, that is really not going to cut it. These aren't bad platforms per se, I just think they're geared towards a different audience than Robinhood and WeBull. There are a lot of other platforms that I wanted to touch on but didn't because this video is getting too long, so I'm going to try and make a little conclusion section. I have little logos of all the brokerages that I wanted to go over, and I'm going to categorize the type of investor and what brokerage would fit that type of investor. Again, this is all my opinion, so don't take this as financial advice. And the sections I'll do are beginners, very passive accounts, more active accounts, that's not how you spell more active, options, or very active traders, and lastly for large accounts. In terms of beginners, despite a lot of its shortcomings, I would recommend Robinhood because the application is really nice looking and it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to sign up, and there is a nice little small bonus, and because there are no minimums or fees, which is really good, especially if you're starting with a small account. In terms of passive accounts, so this is somewhere where you're just buying stocks and leaving them for 20 years, or buying index funds or mutual funds and just leaving them and not really checking on the day-to-day. I don't know, maybe check in every month or so to deposit some more money. In this category, I would put Vanguard, Fidelity, and M1 Finance. For investors who are going to be more active or even trade a bit, and I consider myself part of this category, I would put Schwab, which again is what I actually personally use. I would also put TD Ameritrade because these are pretty similar, and I would also put WeBull. And I think I mentioned earlier, a lot of people group Robinhood and WeBull together, but I think they serve vastly different audiences. And WeBull, I think, is the only platform on this list that you can trade the full pre-market 4 to 9:30 and full after hours from 4 to 8 p.m. In terms of options and very active traders, I didn't touch on any of these accounts, but if you want to be an options trader or a really active trader, I would recommend looking into Tasty Trade, Interactive Brokers, and E-Trade. We've got 2 left. You know what category they belong to. This is going to be the large accounts category. Chances are you're probably not watching this video if you can open a large account at these companies, but I thought I would put it in anyway. We've got JP Morgan Chase and Merrill Edge. Additionally, I would actually put Schwab under this platform because they have some accounts where there's like a minimum of $250,000 or $500,000 and they offer you special features for large accounts. So hopefully I didn't cut this off too much, but this is how I would categorize brokerages to the type of investor or trader. Ultimately though, it doesn't really matter what platform you choose, just that you choose a platform and get started. And with most accounts, you can actually transfer between brokerages with 0 or minimal fees, which is what I did for my Roth IRA. So you can always change your mind later. Lastly, I put a lot of work into this video. It's probably too long, but I had a lot to say and I think it's all pretty important. So make sure to like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more things money and finance, and I'll see you guys next time.